Want more podcast fandom in your ear holes? Of course you do. And so it's a good thing for you that we are back beginning all new coverage of some of your favorite shows. And you can still head over to patreon.com/podcastfandom to become a premium subscriber for access to our coverage of shows like Westworld, WandaVision, Loki, Attack on Titan, The Legend of Korra, and more. Also, if you are on Clubhouse, look up our club, Podcast Fandom, where we talk about shows like The Walking Dead and WandaVision. It's so much fun because you guys get to listen live as we discuss TV shows and then come up on stage to ask your questions and share your thoughts. It's a lot of fun. Oh, and we also host game nights there. So make sure you join and follow us. And now, get into this free shit. Hey guys, welcome to Podcast Fandom, the official podcast for ProjectFandom.com. I'm your host, Nina.
I'm Sarah.
And we are back this week to discuss 2 more episodes of Shadow and Bone. We're going to be talking about episodes 3 and 4. I don't know the titles.
It's The Making at the Heart of the World and Kazatskya.
Oh, they would do that to me. So when I watch the episodes, obviously on Netflix, not HBO Max, apparently, because that is a thing I thought yesterday for some reason.
Right.
Girl, I fired up HBO Max and it wasn't in my, how continue watching. So it'll have the 4 last things I watched, right? Or my list, my queue or whatever. I'm scrolling through everything and I'm like, where is it? Girl, went to search. Type Shadow and Bone. And then I was like, oh, you dumbass. It's on Netflix. So that was my yesterday, which is when we were supposed to record, but it's just been a mess. Yep. So yeah, I was watching the episodes earlier and, Netflix does that autoplay. Mm-hmm. So I didn't even get to see the title of the episode. So I'm glad you said it because I wouldn't have been able to pronounce that second one. So how are you feeling at 4 episodes in with Shadow and Bone?
Good. I'm still really enjoying the series. I like it a lot. I'm
actually enjoying it more than I was with the first 2.
Yes.
I was so nervous because it's been rough in TV land. I feel like I don't know about you, but I haven't had much luck. I start something and it's like, oh, this is okay, but it's not enough to keep me going, Mm-hmm. So I was worried because the not really similar, but another Netflix series that you described in such funny terms in the thread announcing its cancellation was The Irregulars, which we were also covering on the podcast. And we did 2 episodes and then it was yeah, this is not good. Yeah. So this has been very surprising to me in a good way. I'm actually way more invested than I thought I was. And I have to say, when we start talking about these episodes, there was a point where I was kind of rolling my eyes and I was like, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be here for this. I don't know if and then something happened and I was all the way here for it. I literally sat up in this bed.
So, I can't wait to hear what it was.
Yeah, so we'll get there. But, I'm still really, really enjoying it. And I have heard from a few people that we are providing context and clarity to some stuff.
Excellent.
Which I'm going to give full credit to Sarah here because I still has questions. All right, so let's dive into this. Episode 3. What's this girl's name? The tailor. She's the royal tailor, I guess.
Right, that's Jenya.
Jenya. Okay, look at me looking for my Apple Pencil. It's attached to the iPad. Okay, Jenya. I don't know why I did not write her name down. So there we get more of that racism that I'm still waiting for them to explore.
Right. These maids are the worst.
Oh my God. They said she smelled like a whore. Although when she pulled back the bed canopy and she was like, "Have you never bathed?" I was like,
Right.
"Damn, girl, how bad you smell it."
She does smell like a horse.
Yeah,
I mean.
yeah. But I like that she's like, I was on a horse for like 300 hours and almost died. So fuck you. Yeah, I stink. But we learned that, she starts like healing her because she has to, or fixing her wounds, I should say, like covering up her blemishes and stuff. Because she has to meet with the king and the queen, and she has to be prepared for that. And one of the maids is like, do something about her shoe eyes. And I was like, oh my God. And I wanted her to be like, I don't know. She did that kind of like passive kind of a defense of like racism and stuff, that, you know what I mean? Instead of just being like, shut your filthy mouths, she's like, everybody get out, like, and right. I'm like, no, school them. But yeah, but I like that she's like, don't change my eyes.
Yeah. I think Jinya is in a difficult place in that moment because she acknowledges later that the maids are assigned by the queen and they are there to spy on Jinya.
Her, right.
Because Jinya was gifted to the queen by the Darkling, so General Kerrigan. So she is technically his spy. So.
Got it. That makes sense. So the conductor, his name is Arkin?
Yeah.
Okay, so he knows Nina, who is a heart renderer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's who they need. Wait, I totally forgot why they need Nina to, well, they think they need her to get into the little palace, right?
Yeah, they're hoping to get somebody who can schmooze their way into the palace.
Got it.
Using a heart render would be the easiest way.
Right, because that's what she was doing when we met her, like to the hotel, the landlord or whatever, right?
Right.
Okay. But Nina is kidnapped by the Druskella. Is that how you say it?
Right. And this is an important introduction because Nina is actually part of the Six of Crows in the Six of Crows duology.
Oh, got
so
it.
She gets introduced as an idea here.
Got it.
But so in the novel, they have a flashback to when she was captured by Fieridans. Mm-hmm. So this is what they show here, although it takes place in a little bit of a different way.
Got it. Mm-hmm. Arkin needs some ingredients, right, to get them across the fold. And they're going to have to meet at an abandoned skiff, right? Or an area where there's an abandoned skiff. And some of the stuff he needs is 20 pounds of alabaster coal.
I really wanted to see that, didn't you?
Yeah, I was like, and then, like, there was like one other thing, and then the goat. And I thought, surely this is going to be one of those things, like, I'm drawing a blank on what it was, and because we watch a lot of the same stuff, you probably know what I'm talking about. But there was like this show where like the guy was like, I need all of this stuff, but then like one of the things was just like, I just wanted to see if you could get it. Like, I don't need this.
Like I really M&Ms in a rider,
Right? Yes, exactly. I just want to know that you're paying attention. I just want to know that you can hustle.
Right. Well, kind of. The Jerda that he mentions is a stimulant drug, so that's actually for him.
Okay, got it. Okay, that's the other thing. And then there was the goat. Okay. And then
what I thought was interesting, though, about that second is that the second time I watched it, when he's giving the list, he stops and like looks Jesper up and down like thoroughly, and then he's like, and a goat.
Yes, because that's what I was like. I thought it's just like he doesn't like Jesper, so he's going to give him something impossible to obtain or something. But he looked at him and he was like, you're going to freak out. Like, I know the pretty ones always freak out. You need a travel companion. What do they call it?
Yes. Like an emotional support
animal. Yes, he needs an emotional support animal across the fold, which I feel like anybody would, but okay.
Yeah.
And then of course when he says no detours, like I'm like, oh, Jesper's gonna fuck
Here he
this up.
goes.
Like I was
Yep.
so annoyed. This was part of. There were several things that I was just like, oh, I just don't know if this is gonna be for me. And something with Jesper is one of them, but it's also the thing where I was just kind of like, nope, I'm here for it. So,
No.
but this is where I was starting to get a little bit annoyed because I knew they were gonna do that thing where Jesper absolutely goes and fucks up, and I was just like, I
Yes.
don't really need that. But um, so Alina meets the king, and she is so there. Everybody is like, yay, she can do what we think that she can do, but we need her ready, right? Like, when can we get rid of this fold? And
Hmm.
the Darkling is like, she is not ready. I need to train her, and I need to be basically unbothered.
Yeah.
He seems
I
like a
love that
predator.
second where he goes, where he says,
Hmm.
he's kind of, both he and Jenya are kind of disrespectful to start with before they go in there. So they don't think much of the
They
king.
don't, yes, because there was a lot of stuff. Yeah, she was dropping all kinds of stuff, like about the
Yes.
queen's sagging tits and, like
Right.
you said, mentioning of the spy. And then there was a lot of stuff on their way walking down that hall. Yeah.
Yes. And then when he's laying out that he needs to train her,
Hmm.
he walks up to the red carpet and you see him step on it and he
Yes,
says undisturbed. And it's
undisturbed.
not until the king backs down and
Hmm.
agrees because, he wants to control her,
Right.
um, that he steps off of the carpet. And then he's like, great,
Yeah. Yeah.
So I thought that was a great touch.
And I like that because later, like, I know we're jumping ahead, but it's just something we're just going to do. And just talking about the themes and the concepts and stuff. Like, they touched on it definitely in the first two, but even more so here, we're getting more background information on how the Grisha are viewed, even within their own, right?
Right.
And we, like, not within their own Grisha, but like, what are regular people called? Like, are they just like people who are, if you're tested and you're not a Grisha, then you're just normal? Is it just
Right.
humans? I mean, they're all humans because they've established that this isn't like elves and stuff. Like they call this, what do you call it, small science. Like, they're very
Well,
careful to be
right.
like, this isn't magic. Like, we're not calling upon,
Yeah.
like, but clearly it's something. So I'm just trying to figure out,
Hmm.
like, the people who aren't, which I'm assuming like the king and the queen and all of that. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like you're seeing that there are people who tolerate the Grisha but not really. And then of course we learn that there was a not just any Grisha, but like his ancestor, the Darkling's ancestor, that
Right.
accidentally created the foal.
Yeah, the people that don't have any powers are called by the Grisha the title of episode 4, which is Ot Kazatskia. So that
Ah,
means abandoned um, in Ravkan language, and so that's no powers.
got it.
Yeah.
Now, I will say, like, I have some theories and stuff, but like, I don't trust the Darkling.
Yeah.
I'm completely here for the smoldering and shit because I am still attracted to men, unfortunately. I am not, you know what I mean? White people get on my nerves, but that is a good looking white man. I'm not going to lie. So I'm only human. Of course, when I watch these scenes, I'm like, but at the same time, I don't trust him. And also, it is just like, just I get that the actress is probably in her 20s, but like the characters feel
Mhm.
coded to be like late teens, like,
Yeah.
just enlisted into the middle 18 year, and it's just creepy. It's just a
Right.
little creepy, and just have them be in their early 20s and get it over with so that we can all feel a bit comfortable because this woman, the actress playing her, like it looks a little creepy at times. She's so young
Yeah,
in the
and
face that it feels
yes.
predatory.
I do think, yeah, they are definitely playing it borderline. She's supposed to be, the actress is 26,
Mm.
so,
Oh, damn, she's
13
damn near
years is
30.
not that big of a deal.
Yeah, she's
Right.
damn near 30. Okay, never mind. But like the character, they're coded
Right.
very young, if that makes
I
sense.
agree. Like they're writing the line of like she's like 20-ish,
Hmm.
so it's just at that line of like you're like
Mhm. Yeah.
really,
Yeah. Mhm.
and there is supposed to be creepiness and unsureness to
Good.
it,
Good.
because you
Cuz
don't
I'm
know how old he is yet.
so that was the other thing. I am like completely convinced this motherfucker is like centuries old. I don't know why. I was just like, I would look. My theory right now is that he is the motherfucker that created it. Because they're like,
All right.
that's my theory. Because, okay, I'm going to wait. I'll wait till we get there. I'm sorry. The people listening are like, no, 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 do it, do it. No, but I want my thoughts clear. Okay. So we're going to keep going in order. But when we get to that scene with the history lesson, I will go into more detail. But yeah. And then this is also the scene where Zoya is like, you still stink. I was like, this bitch.
She is the worst.
She
There's
really
one
is.
the kind of like a little cool thing about this scene is the first woman who hugs her
Hmm.
in the purple kefta is Lee Bardugo, who's the author.
Oh,
So that's her little,
really?
yeah,
Oh,
her
okay, I
little
gotta go
grace.
watch that scene again. That's so cool. I know, because then there was that, and then like this black girl hugged her, and I was like, "Hey, we exist, yay!" Um, and then I liked it because it turned out like the black girl parent. I think she's gay, so it was like,
Yes.
all right. So between her and the couple we met in the last episode, I was like, okay, okay, this is cool.
Yep.
Um, and then, this may have been something we discussed in the first two episodes, but I honestly do not remember. Like, I knew we talked about, like, who's at war with whom and, like, where people live and all of that, but I was not aware, at least I don't remember, that the West wants their own country. Did we talk about
Yeah,
that?
the
Okay.
the I think I mentioned that briefly, but the guy in West Ravka
Mm-hmm.
that we see later in the episode is agitating to break off from regular Ravka,
Right.
because they have all the resources. So
Mm-hmm.
why would they not?
Right. And they're like, and he says that later. We see, and maybe this is like here, because that's just what I have in my notes. I just have West want their own country, so I don't remember what scene specifically this is referring to. But later, at some point, we do see the person you're talking about. What's his name? Do you remember? It's okay if you
Oh,
don't,
I have it written down. It's
because
General.
they do say it, and I
No,
totally didn't write it down.
yeah, I've written it in like I dropped my notes
Don't worry about it.
in the
I'm sure
bath.
it'll come up. We're gonna. That's okay. For some reason, I thought it began with an S, but we could check on it. But this guy, we see him, speaking to the people. Basically,
Zlatan.
there you go. Did it begin with an S?
It's a Z.
Oh, close. Okay. Phonetically, I
Yep.
was.
Right.
um. So yeah, they want their own country. And then we kind of talked about this a little bit, but we meet Nina, who we see her using her heart rendering abilities on this looks like an innkeeper of some sort. Like she's renting a room from him, I guess, and she's been late, like she's not been paying, and she's
Right.
been using her power to just keep him calm and okay with it, and not calling the cops.
Right.
But it doesn't work like
No.
like I don't know if it's like out of sight, out of mind because like she's upstairs and he sells her out to these fucking what are they called again? The Driscolla. Like
Right.
it's like okay, but she started kicking their asses,
Yes.
and then they
And
got the drop on
I
her.
think that is a big props to the training montage that we get later, or at least the training
Mm,
grounds later, why it's so important for them
mm-hmm,
to be able to defend themselves. I mean, she takes on four grown men with
mm-hmm.
one hand tied.
Yes, and like I love like when the one guy like he's like on top of her in the bed and she got the one hand out like she grabs the glass and just reaching for
Yes.
everything, and I love that because I was like, yeah, this woman is not gonna go with them easily. But luckily,
Right.
all they do is kidnap her. They don't kill her. I was so scared. I was like, we
Yeah.
just met her. She's awesome, but they kidnap her. Um, and we get to where the conductor and our what are they called again? The crows? Is that what they're? No,
Yeah.
is
I
that what they're?
mean,
Okay.
that's what everybody calls them.
Okay, so the crows get
Yeah.
to where they're supposed to meet, and we know Jesper went gambling. So we expect a problem there. this was so funny when I'm looking at the sign, the landmine sign, when the scene starts. So I'm like listening, I'm just like gathering information, right? And I barely like acknowledged. I was like, oh, is that Russian on the sign? Yeah, okay, okay. And then I saw the illustration, and it was somebody's leg getting blown off. And
Yeah.
then I was like, what the fuck is this? Because I can't read Russian. So I was like, wait, what? And then that's when I heard him say, oh no, there I just put the sign there to keep people away. But of course there were lamp. That was so funny.
Yes. It's like, oh, I just said I put the sign
Right.
there.
I never said that there weren't any landmines. I was like, Jesus. And I really like him. I hope they dive into more of like why he does what he does, because I mean it feels like a very selfless thing, especially when you get to the later again where he's like, yeah, I never said that there were no landmines, and it's like, so you are literally risking your life, just get into the train. Like, and then doing what you do, shuffling these people across, it doesn't feel like it's just like money, like,
Hmm.
like even when he's like, I mean, he's gonna retire with his share of the we find out
Right.
at some point. But I don't know. I'm real curious. Like, he seems nice. It doesn't feel like he's doing it like for greedy reasons. And so even when Inej was threatening him in the last episode, and he's like, I help fleeing families or so. I don't know. I just hope I'm not
Hmm.
wrong. I like him. And he's apparently, is he in the books? Like, this is
No.
like, oh no, really?
Mm-mm.
So he's not part of the Crows?
No.
Wow, I really thought, like, in this episode, I was like, oh, I like this addition. I like this. Oh my God, he's gonna be an asshole, isn't he? Because I like him.
Well,
Oh, okay,
did,
never mind.
did you see Kaz see him during the big speech when
Kaz.
they were each gathering their ingredient to show up, but Kaz got the goat and he walks into the middle of that political speech.
I don't have a clear recollection of that. I know what you're talking about, but I don't remember the details.
Well, and I think maybe they're counting on you not having a clear recollection
Oh
of it.
wow. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
No, but
So,
I mean, that's what we're here to talk about. There's probably people
right.
listening, like, girl, what? Tell us. You can say
Yes.
it. I mean, go ahead.
So after the speech,
Hmm.
General Zlatan walks back to his tent, and Arkan walks up to him and shakes his hand, and they go in the tent to talk. So,
Ah,
yeah.
I didn't catch that. Oh, never mind. Okay.
I also did not see that the first time through.
Okay. That's shady. All right. All right. Um, and oh, so I skipped this part. Nina is taken aboard Shurda. God,
Uh-huh.
ship, right? Like they're taking her to what the one guy, I think his name is Matthias, the one of the
Hmm.
captors. He tells her she's gonna go stand trial, and she's like,
Right.
yeah, how many are found innocent? Yeah, just like I thought. Like, she's speaking all these facts to him.
Yeah.
Like, you think that this is makes you strong, and she's just totally getting to him, and I'm
Hmm.
like, I love it. um so that's where
Right.
she ends up. And then I have here in my notes that I don't like Jesper because I'm just not a fan of the character doing the stupid thing. I'm not a
Yeah.
fan of, like, this is so fucking important and you're like, don't gamble, I mean it. And clearly this is what he does. Like, clearly you're not
Right.
surprised when he fucks up and he loses the money. So, like, why would you trust him with something that it just felt really silly? So I'm glad he redeemed himself, because I put in my notes here in all caps, Jesper better save the fucking day because this is his
Right.
fault.
Yeah.
So
And
this
that's
was
the
a little
thing with
goofy and
Jesper.
annoying. Go ahead.
Yeah, is that he just, you know, he cannot shake that demon of
Hmm.
gambling.
Hmm.
And of course, he works for, a guy who owns a casino. So
Right.
this is a constant problem,
Yeah.
but he's so special that
Hmm.
he
Like,
can almost always pull it out.
yeah, I was just going to say, like, the fact that he saves them in the way that he does, then it's like, okay, I get why you keep him around, but
Right.
I didn't like, this was so, like, I was
Yeah.
like, why? Alina has to be trained to fight, and she picked Zoya because she has beef, and I'm like, And then when the guy's like, yeah, I've been training her since she was a fetus. Do
I
you want
know,
to back
like
down? And she's like, I don't know the meaning of it. And I'm like, she about to whip your ass. And she whips her ass.
the nerve to
Hmm.
look right at her and choose her,
Hmm.
and then to get warned and be like, "No, I'm gonna kick her ass."
This girl, you the sun summoner. You ain't got nothing to prove.
Oh my God.
And I noticed here when she lies and says that she slept with Mal.
Mm,
I remember you telling me in the book that he did, and I
right.
thought this is especially now when you get to just the progression over these two episodes with the letter writing and stuff and the more flashbacks that we get. It makes sense that they wouldn't have done that because you're not going to be
Right.
rooting for this if he had just fucked Zoya in episode 1. At least I wouldn't be.
Exactly.
I'd be like, yeah,
Yeah.
girl, you might as well go fuck that Darkling. 'Cause
Right. Yeah,
and
they had
get
to change that. It
yeah,
would just
so
be messed up.
makes total sense. And you don't want, like, and you were clearly not supposed to like Zoya. I don't know if that's going to change, but we're clearly not supposed to like her. So, okay, so now I'm a little. This, I was like, I don't know if one of the kids came in here and was talking to me, but I don't know what his name is, but I call him Qyburn because that's what he reminds me of.
That's basically who he is.
He's like the
Yeah.
King's
But he's
Maester
the
or some shit.
apparat, is what they call him.
What's he called?
The apparat.
Apparat. Okay. Oh, look at them. Oh, we're really quickly. I have to say this. So
Yep.
I had to reschedule it because to next Saturday, but I had been doing these readings of like 2 or 3 chapters, sometimes more, of my first book on Clubhouse, and Sarah has attended, and the book is YA. More like urban contemporary fantasy. It's not like medieval with horses and stuff like that. It's like, set in New Jersey in present day, and it's magic and witches and stuff like that. And I don't know if you were in Clubhouse when I was, so what I do is I read a chapter and then, people are sitting in the audience, and after every chapter, people can come up and ask questions and talk and stuff like that. And I just, answer questions about like why I wrote what I wrote and what I was thinking or whatever. And, I remember when we got to the part where I was talking about how I revealed where vampires came from and where all this stuff. And I said, like, if you're gonna write about most things in like sci-fi and fantasy, you're probably not going to come up with anything too new, right?
Hmm.
Because it feels like a lot has been done before. And I was just proud of myself because I came up with what I thought was a way that I hadn't seen, to say why these things existed and why they're at odds and all that. And then I watched, oh my God. Oh, Nina, what the fuck was it? Was it the Nevers? But I watched something. It might have been the Nevers. I'm not watching that much. It's probably the Nevers, which we're going to be recording
Probably.
for tomorrow.
Hmm.
And you've seen that, right?
Hmm.
Okay. And I feel like I was watching something recently. There was a discussion about fairies, and it was like how they are, like some think they're fallen angels, some think that like, and it was basically the shit from my book. But not only that, but it's like widely known that this is a theory for fairies. And I
Oh,
was like, oh, really? So also research genres before you decide.
yeah.
I
You
mean,
just
and
picked
it's
it up from the zeitgeist or
right,
something.
but and here's the thing. It's like I'm still proud of like what I did in my story because again, I feel like you're not really going to do too much different in
Hmm.
certain genres, and if you can, great, good for you, but I haven't had the inspiration yet. So I'm not saying it to say that, just that I really thought, like, I'm now telling people, like, yeah, I thought, like, I hadn't, this was original, and some fucking literature majors probably sitting there like, yeah, no, this has been done.
I did my thesis on that.
Right. But I bring that up to say that I had another such moment watching this, and maybe we talked about this last week because I definitely know you explained it. Um, but again, this idea that what they do isn't necessarily, it's not like magic, that it's just like some power, like pluck it out of the air, where it's like everything they do comes from something.
Yeah.
And I know that there was a one day that I did a reading that you couldn't make it, and then you came to the next
Hmm.
one and I was telling you like what you had missed. So I don't remember
Yeah.
if the one that you missed was in there, but there was this. I had a couple of scenes, but one in particular that I really liked was where the ability to do certain magic is explained to the character Jack. And he takes a leaf from a plant and turns it into a caterpillar, and he's
Hmm.
like, I couldn't have just made a cat. I couldn't snap my fingers and make a
Right.
caterpillar. Like, there has to be some sort of matter involved that I can manipulate and all this stuff. And then when he talks about spells that work on people, again, he's like, a lot of times it's stuff like actual drugs that exist. So then I had to do like research, and I think one of the drugs ended up being one of the things that killed Michael Jackson, some sort of like anesthetic.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
like to come up with this thing and then change the name of it a little bit so that it has the root of this drug. I think it's like scopolamine or something like that, but anyway.
Hmm.
So here, like listening to this, where I think the Darkling says it at one point, and then this apparat, what's his name though? Like, I don't remember his name.
They don't. I don't think they ever said.
Okay, so I'm calling him Kyber. Kyber.
Yes.
Okay, so there's this idea that did he call it the bone maker? That's
The Bonesmith.
bonesmith. Okay,
Hmm.
because I don't know why I didn't rewind. I think I was Russian. So there's this thing, I guess, that a practice of Grisha's, or maybe it was like an old practice, but like
Hmm.
killing an animal and melding the bone of that animal to your body in some fashion will
Right.
amplify your power.
Right.
And so is
Yes.
it certain
Yeah.
animals for certain types of Grisha, or is it any animal that, and then the power of, like, so if it's like a bear, like
Hmm.
you have more, it's strength related. Like, do you know what I mean? Or is
Right.
it like, does it have to be like a water animal for the tide controllers or whatever?
They don't really get too deep into this in the series as far as like multiple animals and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
multiple Grisha using them.
Okay.
But in the books, they many Grisha use various animals. But yeah, it's kind of like there are there are regular animals and
Mm,
there are special
mm,
animals,
mm-hmm.
and that particular animal that's like the strongest bear or
Mm.
the prettiest rabbit or
Right,
whatever,
right.
that's the one you would sense, matches with your powers, and then you
Okay.
go after that one and kill it
And
and take
okay.
it.
And this is of particular interest because we've seen that Alina was having these dreams about the stag, right? Is that what it
Right.
is?
This
And
mythical stag that people don't even know
right,
if it's real or not.
right. And so he gives her a gift. Like, I don't like him.
Right.
Like the Lives of Saints or something like that. He gives her
Hmm.
some book and as a gift to celebrate our friendship or mark the beginning of our friendship. And I was like, whenever people are so like, no, friendship should just be
Right.
organic. Like, don't just be
We're
like,
going to be
we're going to be great
friends.
friends, are we?
No, we are never going to
Right?
be friends.
Right? So you say that, and I'm just like, mm-mm. But yeah, and then he sends her to go to Bagra.
Bagra, yeah.
Bagra for I have here in my notes for training and suffering, apparently more suffering, because what a thing to say. He's like,
And
you're gonna suffer some more, chick, before this is done.
and that's the thing about the apparat is that he's obviously a complete creeper, but at
Right.
the same time, the information that he provides to her is pretty critical and
He's
necessary
like
going
Littlefinger.
forward. Yeah, well,
Unless
that
he
might actually work pretty well.
right, I was just gonna say, it's like, because it's
He's like
like,
a cross between Qyburn and Littlefinger.
and it, like, I do feel like, and I'm probably jumping ahead a bit again, but I do feel like there's some. I like the fact that there's conflict between the Grisha and the crown, basically, and that it's not just, you know that, and because of that, I feel like I don't completely trust the Darkling either. Like, fuck the king on just
Yeah,
GP.
right. But the
But
Darkling definitely has his own agenda.
exactly. And so I'm just
Yeah,
so curious to see what that is. Because so when he says things like we're going to change the world, what does that mean? Like
right.
does he really secretly want to expand the fold? Does he does he want to have Grisha just take complete power? Like I don't know, but I noticed that everything he says is very, specific. Not very specific. It's very grand, and it's like,
Right.
it doesn't
He
necessarily.
leads her to interpret according to her
Exactly.
wishes, but he
Exactly.
definitely means something specific.
Exactly. Um. So yeah. So this thing inside this
Hmm.
train, where they're attacked by the I forgot what they're called, Voltra,
Volcra.
Volcra, and this was just so he's like the goat is no he says pick up the goat, he's like I'm not throwing out the goat, and I love that about him in that moment that
Yes.
he wasn't like fuck this goat, because listen, I might have been like fuck the goat, like if you
Right.
told me that the
If we're
goat
gonna
was
die,
right, if you told me the goat was bait all along, I'd have been okay, makes sense to me, fuck this goat, but I'm not an animal person like that. So, but I like that he was like, I'm not, he's like, it's not for him. It's not bait. It's for you. Hug it and shut up. And it worked.
it was exactly what he needed.
I love that. And so here's the thing. Like, if it had been somebody else, would it have been like a bunny? Like, what would it have, like,
Right.
what about him that it was a goat? Right? Or was it just a goat for everybody? Is that a thing, a power goats have? Um,
Who knows? I mean, they are very, cute.
they
Although I read the actor said that if they had kept the camera on him, you would have seen the goat headbutt him into the wall
Oh my God. Jasper?
after he hugs it. Yes.
That's hilarious.
It
You know,
like
people.
jerked up and hit him with the top of its head. And those
I
heads are like
was
hard.
just going to
So,
say, I mean, I've had like toddlers do that accidentally, and that's not cute. Um, but they do goat yoga in some places, probably
yes.
California. Probably
I
California.
kind of want to do it, but
I don't know. There's that and beer yoga. So,
yeah.
um, so yeah, so he saves the day. I just love the way this was shot. I thought it was really cool with his like slow walking. Because at first I was like, "Who the fuck is that?" Like did somebody. I got confused, and then the camera pans up, and I'm like, "Oh, okay." And then I had forgotten what his talent was. You know what
Right.
I mean? Like I just and so when he pulled, I was like, "Oh, of course."
Yes.
Yeah.
He's got that the whole gunslinger vibe.
Mhm.
And even though I felt like I knew what was going to happen,
Mhm.
it was still so satisfying to
Yeah,
see it
yeah,
happen.
yeah. I didn't know what was. I didn't see it coming at all. I was like, I knew they were gonna get out of it, but like, I didn't know how. And there was like one part where he says, because they don't have enough the fuel, right? And some other factors like they're late, and so he
Right.
has like this meticulously plotted and stuff, and they hit this one part where he's like we should have hit that 20 seconds ago. So he goes, if we're off by 20 seconds, that means when we stop we're still going to be within the fold. And there was like a brief moment where I got excited. I was like, oh, is this how they get out of it, or are they going to have to run for it? Because I was like, that would
Mhm.
be creepy and fucking cool. But I have the image of the first episode in my head, this kid running out of the thing. So I was
Right.
like, I thought that, I thought he was going to say, that means stopping in the fold, but it's only so and so feet, so we might be okay. He was like, that means we die. I was like, oh, never
Right. No,
mind.
we're definitely fucked.
Yeah, we're totally, totally fucked. And then when he's like, um, time to make your peace, like I was like, because I thought he's probably thinking, I've saved so many families. This is
Right.
if it's my time, it's my time. And now Sarah's like, oh no, bitch, he's a traitor. Like, pay attention.
He, he's got he's got more stuff to do.
Yeah, there's something going on. And then the last bit I have for this episode, and it just, uh, let me read you my notes.
Okay.
Point 11. Why are you eating fig? Fuck you. That's what I have. Because fuck you. Why?
Right.
Like, that's the other thing I did not like. I don't like. For once, I want somebody to rate this woman, this character. if it's a woman, to
Hmm.
just be a bit more sure of herself and to
Right.
ask to not but that's not the genre, right? So
Yeah.
I get that. But like it was just so frustrating to me because she doesn't know shit, right? And
Right.
the Darkling leads her to these people, and the first day, first morning, oh, I'm gonna train you. She doesn't do anything. She gets knocked on her ass and knocked unconscious, right?
Right.
Then the next lady, you're not ready, get out.
Right.
You know, she had no fucking training, and now she's at dinner. She didn't ask for this. She didn't
Right.
say, "Hey, sit me here with a fucking food tester," and have this big. She did. She's eating dinner, and so for you to stand up and be like, "Why are you eating figs when you could be out training?" And it's like, "Fuck you! I literally just got here, and the curriculum fucking sucks." He let me get knocked unconscious, and this bitch told me to leave. So I'm gonna eat this shit, and I'm going to bed. I'm sorry.
Right. No, I agree. I something that I wrote down was just that everybody keeps bursting her bubble. Just the second that she starts feeling a little bit good
Yes,
about herself,
yes.
somebody comes in and is like, "You suck."
Yeah,
You know?
just like she's about to have like a her first decent meal, and you guys are
Right. She
like,
doesn't even take a bite, and
hmm
Ivan is up her ass about
yeah.
not training. Yeah.
And I mean, and that's the thing. It's like I didn't get this. This is much later, like in my notes for this upcoming episode. Um, uh, and I guess I'll just say it now. Like I didn't get the guilt that she probably feels.
Hmm.
Like not just like running to not be tested, like to and then it turns out you're the fucking sun summoner. Like,
Right.
could this have like how many lives would have been saved if you were who you were and you lived up to your potential? But it didn't really hit me until we see in this next episode like what she did to not get tested or to fail the test, and that's where
Right.
the scar came from, because that's all new information, right? Like we knew it was a special
Yeah.
thing and the hand holding and all of that, but yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think, and that's something that Bagura provides is context. She's
Mm-hmm.
like, and I think maybe that's in the second episode, but I mean, it doesn't really matter. It's not like it's spoily or anything like that.
Yeah,
She
yeah, yeah. No,
says,
go for it. We're moving
you
into
know,
episode 4.
yeah, she says, like, sure, you were an orphan, but how many more children have to be orphaned,
Right. Right.
before you get a grip?
Right. Yeah. And that's what I want. I just want
Yeah,
her to just get a bit of a grip. And it feels like it's coming. Unfortunately, it feels like it's coming because a boy broke her heart.
right.
Or she's not getting letters, but it takes what it takes, I suppose.
Mm.
Um okay, so now we're getting into the episode where I have all my theories.
Okay.
So, now in this episode, I'm gonna tell you the other thing that I was like, I'm not feeling was the hurt. Like it felt like in this the episode episode 3, it felt like every time she got hurt or upset or whatever, she ran to write a fucking letter, and I was like, Jesus Christ, like. I
Yes.
was like, if I have to see her sit down and write another goddamn letter, and it's obviously it's exposition. It's a way to get us this information and get us inside her
Hmm.
head because she has nobody to talk to. I get it,
Right.
but I was like, yeah, I'm not sure I'm really gonna like this. And then this episode starts with this motherfucker writing a letter, and I was like, I was like, I definitely don't want a whole letter episode from his point of view. Oh, I'm so mad. I was like, if every other episode is letter
And
perspectives,
furthermore,
right? I would be so mad. But okay, so is this what happened? His group gets an assignment to get this staff, right? Because she needs it, right? Because of the whole, and apparently the commander says something like, or the general, whatever, he says something like, the how can I? But paraphrasing, what I took from this was the more the Grisha become like what he was saying last time, right? Like they're not as useful, not as whatever, right? Like
mhm,
the longer that goes on, the further we've gotten from their more radical customs, I guess. But now
mhm,
that the sun summoner is here, now we're back to hunting and killing animals for. So it felt To me, it was like another layer of they're on the same side, but not really.
Yeah, exactly. I think, well, they were sent north to guard the Fjerdan and Ravka border,
Hmm.
and they get the request that a set of pathfinders like Mal,
Hmm.
who's a tracker,
Hmm.
should be sent from every unit to go after this mythical beast.
Hmm.
And, you know, but he's like, hopefully we get a volunteer, but really I would prefer if nobody volunteers because I don't really want to do this. This is
Yeah,
stupid
yeah.
because they don't even know if it's real.
Right, right. And Mal, now she did orchestrate this, right? That's what she came up with at the end of the episode.
She
Did she?
didn't.
She
No.
didn't?
Mm-mm. No. I mean,
I
he recognizes that the sketch is hers, but
Okay.
that like Kerrigan took that off her desk.
Ah, I missed that. I really thought that she did that. Like cuz whatever she said at like her, narration, her letter at the end of the last episode, I thought that she put that in motion. I was like, "Oh, she's settling in real, sending out royal orders. The sun summoner,
Nope.
two sons from every home must go out and hunt." Okay, okay. So this comes from the Darkling.
Yeah.
Okay, so volunteers. And oh my God, when he's crying at the end of this episode, I was like, y'all just keep doing shit to get to each other and fucking getting other people killed.
Like
Y'all are
freaking
the worst.
June from, The Handmaid's Tale. Like,
Right?
got
Oh my God,
a trail of bodies
exactly.
behind you guys.
Jesus Christ. Also, you can get with the one you love, but fuck everybody else.
Right. Those people wanted to live.
Ugh. Then we have horseback riding. Um,
Yes.
and this is like he sends like her riding outfit and it's in black like his, and
Yeah.
she's like,
He sends her a new kefta. She had just borrowed like a blue
Oh,
kefta,
that's right.
yeah,
That's
to
right.
blend in with everybody. And so after her victory in front of the king, at least is how they look at it, he sends her a black kefta
So
to
that they would be
match
the
his.
only two walking around like that.
Right. And then when he sees that she's not wearing it, I mean, he's so dramatic. He just kills me every time. So he sees that she's not wearing it and he like whips off his kepta
Yes.
and she's like flying behind him. And then he's like, fine, I'll just wear my leather jacket then, I go, oh, okay.
um and then we do the first time we see the crows in this episode, I thought this was great because they're like, wow, that went well. And then it's just like quick flashbacks and like all
Of
the
how
things.
it did not go well.
Right. And then the last one is just the goat bleeding. I was like, oh man, they truly are the best part of the show.
Right.
Oh my God. Okay, so now this is where my theory comes in. The
Okay.
horseback riding leads to a history lesson, or basically, um, Alina proving that she knows her history, of the Black Heretic who was, a Grisha who got very powerful and, basically was competing with the king, or the king, yeah, he was getting very popular and or powerful, and the king, um put an order to have him executed or
Hmm.
something like that. And then so he tried to create, the Black Heretic tried to create his own army to fight against the king, and created the Fold instead. And like presumably he died, and then I'm assuming as it spread everything in its path, those people died, and then it's been there ever since. And okay, so that's him, right? So when he says I've been fighting this war for so long, or so, I just feel like it's him. And like I okay,
Do you want
that's
me to
what I.
say or?
And I'm always suspicious, like when they
Yeah.
don't, like they show you a flashback that they don't show his face.
Right.
Like, just show
And
us. He's dead.
yeah, that's, it's that's her interpretation of what she believes, like what everybody believes
Yeah, that's
happens,
true too. Yeah, because
and
she
he
is
is
relate.
definitely trying to like get her to tell him what she thinks she knows so
Right.
he can like create a middle space
Right.
and meet her there
Yeah,
somewhere.
because this does come from basically him challenging her. She recognizes like the markings along the fountain that they're at or whatever, and she
Mhm.
goes, "Oh yeah, this is the story of the Black Heretic." And he's like,
Right.
You know that just from this?" And she's like, "I went to school."
Right. I she has to keep telling people like I read books.
Right, I'm not an idiot. Um, and I like though that she says, like if she fails or whatever, like how they would turn on her too.
Yes.
And he was
Which
like, I
was
won't let that happen. I was like, because you're the Black Heretic.
right. Yeah, I think what's kind of interesting right here is that he is starting to pick up, which is what he's got feelers out for, like
Hmm.
what motivates her, you
Hmm.
know?
Hmm.
And I think by this point, how many people has she told that she sacrificed for Mal, that she
Mm.
needs to get back to Mal because
Mm.
Mal is bullied when he's alone. And if she had left Mal, he
Hmm.
would be alone.
Yeah.
And so he's picking up that like she will sacrifice herself for someone
Who
who
needs
is,
alone.
yes,
And so
yeah,
that's when
alone and damaged.
and then
Right.
so that leads to later when he's like, I'm
Yes.
so alone.
Yes, he starts weaving the tale,
Hmm.
and you can see it just starting to work at
Hmm.
the end of the fountain
Hmm.
situation where like she's like, yeah, I don't believe you, and he seems amused by that, and then she like goes like hee hee.
Hmm. Hmm.
You're like, oh God.
Um, then we get the heist for the blueprint of the little palace.
Wait, before we go that to the next scene,
Okay.
we should talk about when he gives her his name, which is Alexander.
Oh, right,
Because
right, because they're on the horse.
because that's nothing in the series, right? Like he just says like please call me Alexander, which is, I guess it is kind of a big deal because everyone else has to address him as General
Hmm.
Kerrigan and he's
Hmm.
second to the king and blah blah. But, like I mentioned last episode, in the book, no one knows his name.
Oh, that's
No
right.
one knows his name. So everyone calls him the Darkling, and he tells her like this is part of his kind of clinching of
Yeah.
their
Hmm.
intimate
Right. I trust you, so you should
right,
trust me. Right.
like and then it's this big deal because she's the only one in the world that
Because
knows
she
his name.
says, and she uses it later, right? When
Yeah,
she says you're not alone, I think she uses his name then.
yeah.
And I was like, we like that now? Okay. Girl, you
Which is
okay?
what he's going for.
Right, right,
So
right. And I
yeah.
see how it works.
Mhm, mhm.
I get it. I absolutely get it. It's
Right.
creepy, but I see how it would work.
Yep.
So the blueprint heist.
Mhm.
This is so cute. I love it.
Yes, I love how they introduce it. And he's like, Jesper is like, you know what that means?
Hmm.
It's a heist.
Yes. I love a heist. And this was done so like cleverly. I love when they do the whole you'll have to do this and they're showing it so we know it already happened, and
Right.
so it's successful, but it's just like the thrill of it.
Yeah.
Um this was a lot of fun. Her making the copy, like how she did it and everything, and him trying to mansplain.
Right.
Not too hard because she's like, shut up.
Right. Like, I know how to make a copy, bitch.
Oh my god. And then we get to see like her stealth skills again
Yes.
behind that man. Oh.
Right. That he never hears.
Mm-mm. Mm. And then when she's caught or stuck, I should say,
Hmm.
trapped, and Jasper does the thing to get her out. Like at first when he's aiming, I'm like, does he have a silencer on that thing?
Right.
Like, are
What
we
is he
gonna?
gonna do?
I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like, are we gonna find out that he fashioned some type of how? And then you see the clock, and I'm like, oh, this is just corny enough. Like, this is
Right.
just.
It's gonna be be like Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
when he stamps the book, and the clock
Yep.
bongs and
Yep.
then he bashes the thing and the guy's like, "Oh my God." But it was so great.
Um, and then, oh, I have here in my note, Mal knows his shit. I really didn't think I was going to be interested in this. This, you know what this felt like to me? This felt like when John first went beyond the wall, and he was like, what's his name? I forget his name. Is it Half Hand? Like sacrificed himself so that they would trust John. Is that who did
I
that?
think so.
Yeah.
Or in Half Hand, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so like that, like, and then when he's traveling with Egret, fuck, I don't remember. Uh,
The grit. Yeah.
I need to, yeah, get myself back into that universe with the new show coming up. But like that, I remember not really being interested in that in the book or in the show. And I felt the same way here in the beginning. I was like, oh, I don't care. Just catch the thing so you can get reunited. I forgot their ability to just insert drama and but yeah, the first time we see them, he has Sam and Pip with him.
Right.
And he's able to like, and I did like this bit of writing here, the fact that he can tell that, like he's like, look, even because it's blizzard basically, and even
Hmm.
in all of this, by the animal shit, it's still eating well, like it's doing well, whatever. And he was like, Mal knows his shit.
They are adorable. And they do mention, even before they leave, they mention his unusual ability to find animals.
Mm.
So, that is definitely key.
So, okay, yeah, I have it in my note. Okay, so I didn't want to get to, I didn't want to say it now if I was going to repeat myself. Okay. And then Nina and Matthias. So
Yep.
he's tying her. Oh, this is where he brings her the food, right? And
Hmm.
he like he is trying to, it seems like he's trying to be nice, and she's like, yeah, no, you want something. And he's asking her these questions where it feels like um he she was getting to him, you know?
Hmm. Hmm.
But then, I was still on the fence. I was like, this really could go either way. But
Right.
because it feels like she's a big character, like we're spending this time with her, um, and she's great. I'm like, I know nothing's going to happen to her, so I'm assuming he eventually comes around some way. But like at this point, I wasn't sure, and I was just like, I was like, what does he want? And
Right.
this show hasn't been too graphic with certain things, so I was like, I really
Hmm.
hope this isn't like rape because I like,
Right.
um, but yeah, this whole thing, and I mean, they got chemistry, so I suppose this is where this is going, maybe. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, the Drusilla, they're almost like witch hunter monks,
Ah.
and this
Ah.
guy is new to the order, so he's still a true believer, but
Right.
because she's so good at, reading people,
Mhm.
she understands that he is a true believer,
Mhm.
but if his innocence is damaged in some way, by chipping away at his faith in the
Mhm.
order
Mhm.
and revealing their hypocrisy,
Mhm.
that she can get to him.
Mhm.
And, then of course that proves accurate.
Um. So I'm gonna say the scene, then I'm gonna say what my note says.
Okay.
So they have to. Arkin finds a way for them to get into the little palace, and it's this group of performers who, because Arkin fucked with their equipment and like her scarves or ropes or whatever,
Right.
uh, got hurt. So they need someone to fill in, and of course that's going to be Inej, right? So she auditions and is amazing, right? And then
Somehow he must have picked up that she had that ability, or they would be fucked, right?
Or I wondered. I honestly, I thought about it like briefly, and I gave them an excuse, and then I moved on from it. And my thought was her like agility. I
Hmm.
thought he was thinking she could wing it, like
Yeah.
that they're that good. Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like how Jesper's that good, and that the audience, we're just supposed to believe it and go with it. If
Sure.
there's more to it, I did not pick up on that. Because like I said, there was a moment where I was like, he knows she could, naturally.
Mm-hmm.
But then I gave them that. I was like, maybe we're just supposed to like think that she would have come up with something because she's so good.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, that's very possible. I think that it's hard to say. I feel like he probably senses something special about her.
Mm,
And I mean, the fact that she like jumped off of the second story, and landed
right,
like a cat
right,
earlier
right.
probably told
Yeah.
him, well, she can handle this.
But then Jesper's like, oh wait, we're a team. He's like, well, what can you do? And then this motherfucker shoots a playing card over his show, like using a fucking serving tray as a mirror, and
Right.
she's hanging upside down from her ropes with the card in her mouth, and he shoots it. And there was a part of me that was like, please let's find out like that was a dummy, like a
Right.
blank, and then
Hmm.
she does a thing where she like the card, like she flips it in her
Falls
mouth.
apart or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then later we see that because I feel like that would make me like them more. I think.
Hmm.
But to just believe that he's that good, it's like, oh man, if you set him up like that, then he can't ever miss
Right.
later. But of course, I'm sure he will when it's convenient. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But here's what I have in my notes. Cass ain't tap dancing for y'all.
He's like, no.
It's like, uh-uh. Look at them like, are you new? I
Why?
laughed so
Why?
hard.
I have a talent.
He's like, I finesse my own goddamn way. I thought that was so funny. Um, okay, so now the flashback of how she failed the test. Because I
Yeah.
had asked you that before, right? I was like, they hid that day. Like, did they never come back? Like, and now we see that they were taken, and he wasn't tested because he was injured,
Yeah.
right? And she had to be tested, but she knew that they do a pain, they determine it by a reaction to pain. So she
Hmm.
made sure that she was already in pain by squeezing like a piece of glass or something,
Right.
from the dishes that broke, right, in
Right.
her left hand behind her back.
Hmm.
And so
Yeah.
she quote unquote failed.
Right. Yeah, because their power would come up to the surface, and
Hmm.
the testers would be able to sense it.
Hmm.
But, because she was already distracted by that, and that's why she's got that scar,
Hmm.
that reminds her of everything she's basically done to take care of Mal.
So Mal is Grisha, right?
He
Because
is or isn't?
is.
No, not he's not 100% normal either, though.
Okay, I was about to say because this motherfucker got shot in this episode, didn't he?
Yeah, he
Okay.
did.
I was like, I mean,
With the
he's
machine
just
gun.
right, and then it's like he can hear. We find out later he can
Yes.
hear her, like
Right.
he could hear the Grisha in her, and I'm
Yeah.
like, well, if that's a possibility, why are we testing people like that? Like, if
Yeah.
there are people that
He
can,
can hear her frequency, and then
exactly.
he hears that the stag has the same frequency.
Yes, so he's able to track it. Hold on one second. Yes,
Mhm.
sure. I'll make a note. Um, yeah, I mean, there's that, and then of course, like I don't know, he got hurt by that thing, and I really thought he was gonna die, and then he gets shot in this episode, and I'm
Mhm.
just, I don't know, and the fact that, to my knowledge, he hasn't been tested, but um, that's where I was going. But if he's not Grisha, I know he's not quote unquote normal.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, the I think that maybe they don't really I mean the key is that he gets hauled back, and they have healers, and that's why he's never keeps dying.
I got it.
Like he
Okay.
should.
So, but then, like, Inej isn't normal. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
are we supposed to believe that they're just that good, or are they special?
I think you should be questioning that.
Okay, because it feels special, right? It doesn't,
Hmm.
like, the show, it's presenting it like it could be. Like I said, the scene with the cards is a perfect example. Like, I
Right.
kind of wanted them when they were walking away to reveal that they're just really good, like they're like what's that show, Leverage, weren't they like con men in that show?
Right.
Just like a crew of like really witty good con men. And
Hmm.
but if it's not that, then these motherfuckers just got to be special beyond, really good at what they do. So,
Right.
okay. But when we see this, and this is through the failing of the test, we see this through another one of her sessions with Bagra.
Hmm.
Um, and this is where I have in my notes that it did not occur to me that she would have felt guilt about, you know, of course she had no way of knowing that she was, or at least she says, but the idea that, you would have no way of knowing that you're the sun summoner, definitely, right? Like just
Right.
but not knowing that you were Grisha, period, meant that this war, this rift, has continued for 17 more years or 18 more years, and how many people died in that time.
Right.
And that's when it really kind of, like, hearing this moment where she says, like, it sunk in. I was like, oh, that's a lot to deal with.
Hmm.
And then you think about, like, why you did it.
Right.
No, not no
Hopefully
shade.
you are questioning why. Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like, no
Yeah.
shade to Mal, but it's like when you did it. And again, it's like, well, she
He's
had no way of,
just a boy. Yeah.
right. And if we exactly. But even if we like take her at her word that she really didn't know, she didn't sense it, she didn't feel it, she just wanted to protect him or whatever. It's like, she was young. Like you do things
Yeah.
stupid when you're young.
Sure.
But I do think, I don't know, maybe if I missed something, because we are supposed to believe that she didn't know, like she did it for him. But I feel like when you oh, what's her name? Who's the woman, the oh God, Taylor, her personal Taylor.
Virginia.
Jenya. When she says, I was tested at 11, but I've been working on myself since I was 3.
Hmm.
So I'm like, how didn't you know, sis? Like, because that tells that it's not that they have to reveal it to you. That
Yeah.
you know, and I'm assuming, this is a passed down thing, right? Like, two Grishas have a kid, they're Grisha, right? Like, they're gonna, do we know?
It's just it is, in this case, the summoners are so unique
Mm.
that it's spontaneous. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Um, and then we have the late night chat with the Darkling that we kind of went over already, right?
Right? Yes. When
Um,
he starts filling up the room.
yeah, because he's getting so
Right.
he brings Numi to brooding. He's literally summoning
Drama.
death clouds.
Right. It's like tears, like filling up his eyes. Like he is really pouring it on
His
big
eye,
time.
yeah. I'm so glad you said that, because I forgot that I didn't write it down, but I made note. I was like, is his eyes like red? Is he crying?
He was crying. Yes, he like turns around and
Oh,
he's making it look, like I've been working so
yes.
long,
And then
and like
that's the line where I was like, "Cause you're
yeah,
the fucking dark
right.
heretic, so long,
He's
old
doing
ass."
so much to make it look like he's doing this absent-mindedly, like he doesn't realize that
Yeah,
he's getting so upset that he's
exactly. That
filling
she
the
has
room
to
with a
that she has
cloud.
to touch him, which
Yeah.
is I didn't mention this, but it has been noted that it's like, can you do this shit on your own, or do you always have to be touching him? I was like, oh.
And I love how, you know, how Bagra is just like always talking about him like General
Hmm.
Kerrigan.
Yes, because
You
she
have to
tries to,
be
she tries,
touching him.
she tries to, she tries to call him by his government name, and she
Right.
corrects her. She's like,
Yeah.
Kerrigan said General Kerrigan. I was like, ooh.
Well, did you notice? Oh, first I wanted to say with the actress that plays Bagra,
Mhm.
she was the flight instructor in the Harry Potter movies. So this is Madame Hooch, for those who are into that fandom.
Oh my God, it is.
Yes. So
Okay.
she's always she's a tough love instructor in every fandom universe. But did you notice what color she was wearing?
Black.
Yeah.
And you know what? The my theory about him being old and shit in the thing
Hmm.
is um what's her name again?
Jenya?
Yes. Is she like fucking fixing him?
No, he
Okay.
is. She's not.
Okay.
He's just so powerful that
Okay.
he doesn't
He
age.
just looks like that. Okay.
Right.
It's him. So,
What is
uh
it they say in Bald Move? Mildly interesting.
right, yes. It's him, y'all. It's him. Um, Matthias is told to kill the captives
Yeah.
if they need to, because they're taking on water and approaching a storm. And
Right.
he's like, but they have to get their trial.
You're like
He's
Matthias.
like a white liberal in 2008.
Right. But the justice system
Right?
works.
He's
No,
like,
it
no,
doesn't, Matthias.
he's like, they just need reform, not defunding.
Oh my
I
God.
was like, you sweet summer child. And then she's sitting there like, uh-huh. I was like,
I
did she hear
told
all of
you.
that? Yes, she totally heard all that shit. Um, okay, so then my final notes on this episode before we get to the final stuff. Where are the letters? Are they keeping that boy's letters from her? Because I done watched 2 episodes of letters being written. And ain't
They
nobody reading shit.
they are in the circular file.
Right? Like, what the fuck?
They are not getting through.
I'm
Either way.
like, right? I'm like,
Yeah.
is it me or is it just a whole lot of letter writing, but nobody's
Hmm.
reading shit?
That no one is getting the letters. Yeah.
And so when she gets to the thing, I'm like, where are these letters? These motherfuckers.
They're gone.
The
They are
call
back.
is coming from inside the house, Alina.
What do you not understand?
So Mal and them. So even though he's writing this letter, and I'm sitting there going, she ain't gonna get this fucking letter. But anyway, he's like, I'm up in the middle of the night, and so is so and so's weak bladder. And when he leaves, right, Mal leaves the tent, and the other guy is sleeping, and the camera stays on him, and then he opens his eyes. I was like, oh, like my stomach dropped because I just knew something bad was gonna happen,
Yeah.
and it was, I just didn't know what. Like, it was so ominous. It was like, why? Like, is he gonna like go stab Matt? Like, what?
Right.
You know, it was just this
Yeah.
eerie thing. And then you got a guy pissing in the woods at night. That never ends well. Like, this is like horror movie shit written all over
Just
it.
hold it till morning.
Hmm. Um, but they're attacked by some Freja.
Theodens.
Freerdans.
Yep.
And it's gruesome as fuck.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Like,
This is like, in Winter Soldier, when we were like, oh, they're terrorists. This is
right,
like, oh, they're
right.
real
Yes, I
assassins.
was like, they are really, really out here fighting for their lives.
Right.
And it was going well. And then, like, it's so when they like killed the final one, or you think it's the final one, or they thought it was the
Right.
final one, maybe. And
Hmm.
the three of them are standing like back to back to back.
Yeah.
And I was like, but wait, Mal was on his way to help the guy on the ground when somebody threw the thing around his ankles. And then
Hmm.
the third guy came up and ended up saving the guy on the ground, right? I was like,
Hmm.
but we don't know who threw the thing that
Yeah,
Mal had to untie himself from. So when they're
that's
standing
right.
back to back to back, I'm like, there's got to be at least
There's one
somebody
more guy
right
at
with that
least.
thing.
Hmm.
So then they see a guy in the distance, and I thought I couldn't tell if it was one or two, but what he was doing, like the way he was, I was like, it looked like when they're that those strips of bullets, ammunition,
Hmm.
and you're loading it. And I was like, certainly it's not that. I was like,
And it
and it
was.
absolutely, and then I remember what you said about like right with the industrial age, like they're, and how they said, the guy last week had said, um, because of that, like the Grecians are less powerful,
Right.
against like what we see here.
Yeah.
Um, and then he gets shot, and I was like, what is happening?
Multiple times.
Jesus Christ. I was like, this is where we find out that he is, because how does he
Right.
get out of this? How does he survive this?
Yeah.
And it ends just with him seeing the stack, right?
Yeah, he has a flashback to, he has a little flashback where it shows the time that he too, injured himself to get
That's
himself
right.
thrown into the brig,
To be
you
with
know,
her. That's
to be
right.
with
And
Alina.
it's
And
right when she's thinking he's abandoned her. And that
right,
maybe she starts looking at other things and seeing them for what they're not. Oh,
right.
I'm your little friend. Oh,
Hmm.
that moment when they felt close, but he laughed and looked away. Like, I'm like,
Right,
girl, grow up.
right.
And so
And
she
yeah,
asks, what's her name, to take the scar off.
right. And then in that moment, the stag is drawn to him,
Mm-hmm. These
and
two
they have that
kids.
thing. The yeah, I you know, I don't want like angry tweets from shippers and whatever about this, but I did not particularly like the I mean, I was organizing earlier today, like I mentioned before we got on,
Mm-hmm.
and I ran across our a box of letters that Adam and I had sent each other because we were long distance and we
Mm-hmm.
left each other a lot of little notes and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that in each other's houses. And so I know that people can say like stupid and cheesy things, in letters, and that really means something to you,
Right.
especially when
Right.
you're 20 years old. However, the fact that they both end their letters with the idea that you are my
Mm-hmm.
true north, I just wanted to gouge my eyes out. I was just like,
That was
no.
like the Barry and You're My Lightning Rod. That like.
Yes, it was too much for me.
But yeah, he's literally out in the cold, and she's
Yeah.
eyeing her new, what's it called, a Kefka.
Kefta. Yeah.
Kefta. She's looking at her new black Kefta like, yeah.
Maybe I will wear black.
She's like told she's gonna have next week. She's gonna be wearing dark eyeliner. She's gonna be all tarted up. Watch.
The dark eyeliner is always,
That's the
right?
first path to the. That's the first step of the path to the dark side.
And that is, what I say to myself every morning when I'm putting on my dark eyeliner.
When you choose violence, that's how you know. I chose violence today. Mommy has on an extra heavy black eyeliner. Don't fuck with her today. It's just what it is. Watch. Oh my god. So that's it. That's all that we have. There is no feedback, surprisingly. I feel like people are talking about this in the threads, which is cool. But I did want to remind people that there is a feedback post up on Patreon. It is not behind a paywall. I will tweet it out as a reminder with this podcast. We're recording this on Saturday. We did it a day late. We're doing game night tonight for Donnie's birthday, which was yesterday. I'm not going to publish this tonight, but it will be up on Sunday. So when you guys hear this, by the time you guys hear this, we'll have also posted Mayor of Easton episode 3. We're recording that with Ellen. And one more thing I'm forgetting. Oh, Kaylee and I recorded Ajin, Demi-Human. So that's coming up as well. Thank you so much, Sarah.
You are welcome. I had a
Sarah,
wonderful time.
wait a second. Is it
What?
this is 8 episodes, right? Not 6, right?
Right. It's
Okay.
8.
I was like, no, we're not almost done, are we? I had like a panic for some reason.
That was Winter Falcon.
Thank you. It's too much TV. So next week we'll get together to talk about 5 and 6.
Yay.
Yay. Okay. Talk
Leave
to you guys
feedback.
later. Yes, leave feedback. Bye.
Bye.